There is a specific kind of silence that only happens in winter. Have you ever noticed it? When the snow is falling so thick that it absorbs sound, you step outside and the world feels dead, muted. We romanticize it. We think of hot cocoa, fireplaces, and cozy nights in. But historically, winter was the season of death. It was the time when the nights got longer, the food ran out, and the things living in the woods got desperate. And even now, with our central heating and our smartphones, we aren't safe because the cold does something to people. It drives them inside, it isolates them, and it hides the tracks of the things that follow us home. Tonight, I have 3 stories for you. Just 3, but we are going to go deep into them because these aren't just jump scares. These are accounts of people who found themselves trapped in the freezing cold, realizing that they weren't alone in the whiteout. These are the kinds of stories that make you want to check the thermostat, lock the deadbolt, and pray that the sun comes up soon. Let's get into it. Story 1: The Cabin on the Ridge. This first story comes from a man named Mark. It happened about 5 years ago in the Bitterroot Mountains of Montana. Mark and his fiancée, Jessica, were city people. They lived in Seattle, worked tech jobs, always surrounded by noise. For their anniversary, they wanted the opposite. They wanted total isolation. They rented a dry cabin on Airbnb. For those who don't know, a dry cabin means no running water, and in this case, electricity was limited to a generator that you had to go outside to refill. They arrived on a Thursday. The place was beautiful, picture-perfect view of the valley, snow piled 5 feet high on the roof. The first night was great, but on the second day, a massive storm system moved in. We're talking whiteout conditions, 0 visibility. Mark went out around 4 p.m. to top off the generator before it got too dark. The wind was screaming. He remembers feeling like the air was sucking the heat right out of his lungs. He fills the tank, and as he turns to go back inside, he sees something near the edge of the woods, about 50 yards from the cabin. It's a dark shape. Now, out there, your mind goes to bears or moose. Mark squints through the snow. The shape isn't moving like an animal. It's standing upright. It looks like a person, wearing a heavy, dark coat, just standing there, facing the cabin. Mark waves. He assumes maybe it's a neighbor or a hiker who got lost. The figure doesn't wave back. It doesn't move. Mark gets a weird feeling in his gut. The cold suddenly feels sharper. He hurries inside and locks the heavy wooden door. He tells Jessica. She laughs it off. It's probably a tree stump, Mark. The snow makes everything look weird. They make dinner, they drink some wine. Mark tries to forget about it. But around 9 p.m., the generator sputters and dies. The cabin plunges into darkness. The only light comes from the wood stove. Mark is annoyed. He knows he filled the tank. It should have run all night. He grabs a flashlight. "I gotta go check it," he says. Jessica says, "Don't go out there. It's freezing." "I have to, or the pipes might freeze if the electric heater backup fails." Mark opens the front door. The wind tries to rip it out of his hand. He steps out onto the porch. He shines the light toward the generator shed. The door to the shed is open. Mark knows he closed it. He walks over, the snow crunching loudly under his boots. He shines the light inside the shed. The generator isn't broken. It's been switched off. The switch is in the off position. Mark freezes. He spins around, shining his light into the trees. "Hello? Is anyone there?" Silence. Just the wind. He flips the switch. The generator roars back to life. The floodlights on the corner of the cabin flick on, illuminating the yard. And that's when he sees the footprints. Fresh tracks, leading from the tree line right up to the generator shed, and then leading from the shed to the back of the cabin. They don't lead away.
Mark sprints back to the front door. He bursts inside and slams the deadbolt. "Jessica," he yells, "where are you?" "I'm in the kitchen," she calls out. "The lights came back on." Mark runs to the kitchen. "We need to leave, now." "What? Mark, you're scaring me. We can't drive in this." "Someone is out there. Someone turned off the generator to lure me out." Jessica goes pale, and then they hear it. Thump. It came from the roof, directly above the kitchen. Thump, scrape, thump. Someone is walking on the roof. Mark grabs a heavy cast iron skillet from the stove, the only weapon he has. He drags Jessica into the bathroom, which is in the center of the house. No windows. They lock the door. They sit in the bathtub, huddled together, listening. For an hour, they hear footsteps circling the roof, heavy, deliberate steps. Then, silence. Then, they hear the sound of the back door handle jiggling. Click-clack, click-clack. Mark had locked it, thank God. Then a window smashes in the living room. The sound of glass shattering is deafening in the quiet cabin. The wind howls into the house. Mark holds his breath. He hears boots on the hardwood floor. Crunch, crunch. Snow being tracked inside. The intruder is in the cabin. Mark and Jessica are holding each other, trembling. They hear the intruder walking around the kitchen, opening cupboards, moving chairs. It's casual, like they live there. The footsteps stop right outside the bathroom door. Mark grips the skillet. He's ready to swing. They see the shadow of feet under the door crack. The person is just standing there, breathing. A hand touches the doorknob. It turns slowly. The lock holds. Then a voice, not a scream, a whisper, right against the wood. "I know you're in there. I can hear your heart's beating." Mark screams, "I have a gun! Get out!" He didn't have a gun, obviously. The person on the other side laughs, a low, dry chuckle. Then, nothing. They stayed in that bathroom for 7 hours. They didn't come out until the sun was fully up and shining through the bathroom vent. When Mark finally opened the door, the cabin was trashed. Food was thrown everywhere. The furniture was slashed. But on the dining table, carved into the wood with a knife, was a message. Next time. They drove down that mountain doing 60 miles an hour on ice. The police investigated. They found a makeshift campsite in the woods about a mile away. Someone had been watching the cabin for days. They found binoculars and a list of dates. Mark and Jessica's dates were just the latest entry. Mark says he never goes anywhere without a firearm now, and he never, ever rents cabins in the winter. Before we move to the second story, take a second. Look around your room. Is your window locked? That first story gets to me because of the generator, the trap. It wasn't random violence, it was a strategy. They wanted him to come outside. If you're enjoying this, or if you're terrified, hit the like button. It helps me find more stories like this. All right, let's go to the roads, because there is nothing more helpless than being stranded in a vehicle when the temperature drops below 0. Story 2, the dead-end delivery. This story was sent in by a guy named Leo. Leo works as a courier driver, one of those jobs where you use your own car to deliver packages for a big logistics company. This happened last December in rural Wisconsin. If you know Wisconsin in winter, you know the roads there are unforgiving. It was 2 weeks before Christmas. Leo is trying to finish his route. He has one package left. The GPS takes him off the main highway and onto these winding, unpaved back roads. It's 8 p.m., pitch black. Snow is coming down hard. The GPS says destination in 2 miles. Leo is driving a Honda Civic, not exactly an off-road vehicle. The snow on the road is getting deeper. He's getting nervous. He thinks about turning back, but he's so close. He just wants to get it done.
He comes around a bend and the road just ends. It's not a driveway, it's a dead end, just a wall of pine trees and a snowbank. GPS says, "You have arrived." Leo looks around. There is no house, no mailbox, nothing. He checks his phone. No service, of course. He puts the car in reverse to turn around, but as he backs up, his tires spin. He's on a patch of black ice under the snow. The car slides sideways and sinks into the ditch. He guns it. The wheels just scream. He's stuck. Leo sits there for a minute, banging his head on the steering wheel. He's 10 miles from the main road, no cell service, and the temperature is dropping to -10. He decides he has to walk back to the last house he passed, which was maybe 3 miles back. He grabs his flashlight, zips up his jacket, and starts walking. The wind is brutal. After about 20 minutes, he sees a light in the woods. It's not the house he passed earlier. It's a small, run-down farmhouse set way back from the road. He missed it on the drive-in because of the trees. He thinks, "Thank God." He trudges up the long driveway. There's an old truck parked out front, completely buried in snow, like it hasn't moved in years. He knocks on the door. No answer. He knocks harder. "Hello? My car broke down. I need help." The door opens. Standing there is an older man, maybe 60s. Long gray beard, dirty flannel shirt. He looks confused. "Car trouble?" the man asks. His voice is rasping. "Yeah," Leo says. "I slid into a ditch down the road. Can I use your phone? My cell is dead." The man stares at him for a long, uncomfortable moment. Then he steps back. "Come in. Phone's in the kitchen." Leo steps inside. The house is incredibly hot, like sweating hot. The wood stove is roaring. The smell hits him instantly. It smells like rotting meat and bleach. Leo tries not to gag. "Thanks, I really appreciate it." He follows the man into the kitchen. The kitchen is a mess. Stacks of newspapers, dirty dishes. "Phone's on the wall," the man says, pointing. Leo picks up the receiver. There is no dial tone. The line is dead. Leo taps the hook. Nothing. He turns to the man. I think the line is down. Maybe the storm?" The man is standing in the doorway of the kitchen, blocking the exit. He's smiling now, a wide, toothless smile. "Yeah," the man says. "Storm took it down 3 days ago." Leo feels a cold prickle on his neck. "Oh, okay. Well, thanks anyway. I guess I'll just walk back to the main road." "You can't walk in this," the man says. He takes a step forward. "You stay here. I have a room for you." "No, really, I'm fine," Leo says, edging toward the other side of the table. "I insist," the man says. He reaches behind his back and pulls something out of his waistband. It's a hammer, a rusty claw hammer. Leo's adrenaline explodes. He looks around. The back door is to his left. "You're not leaving," the man says calmly. "Nobody ever leaves the dead end." The man lunges. Leo throws a chair at him. The man deflects it, but it gives Leo a split second. Leo bolts for the back door. He fumbles with the lock. The man swings the hammer and smashes it into the door frame, inches from Leo's head. Leo gets the door open and dives out into the snow. He lands face first, scrambles up, and runs. He runs blindly into the woods. He hears the man screaming behind him, "I'll find you! The cold will get you first!" Leo ran for what felt like hours. He didn't feel his toes, he didn't feel his face. He just ran until he saw headlights. He flagged down a snowplow on the county road. The driver took one look at Leo, blue-lipped, terrified, and radioed the police. When the cops went back to that farmhouse, the man was gone. But they found the house.
In the basement, they found 3 driver's licenses. They belonged to delivery drivers who had gone missing in that county over the last 5 years. And in the guest room the man had offered Leo, there was a bed frame with handcuffs welded to the posts. Leo says the scariest part wasn't the hammer, it was the GPS.
When the police checked the mapping data, that road Leo turned down, it wasn't on the map. Someone had hacked the local mapping update to create a ghost road that led unsuspecting drivers straight to that dead end, straight to him. Story 3: The Frozen Smile. This final story is hard to explain. It touches on something primal, that feeling of the uncanny valley, when something looks human but isn't. It comes from a woman named Sarah. Sarah was a security guard. She worked the graveyard shift at a large ski resort in Vermont. During the off-season, or during the week when guests were low, the resort was massive and empty. Miles of empty hallways, dark lodges, and silent ski lifts swaying in the wind. It was January, 3 a.m. Sarah is in the main control room watching the wall of monitors. She has cameras covering the lobby, the equipment rental shop, the kitchen, and the outdoor lift lines. She's drinking coffee, bored out of her mind. She glances at Monitor 4. Monitor 4 covers the outdoor patio at the base of the mountain. It's freezing out there, maybe minus 15 degrees. Standing in the middle of the patio is a person. Sarah leans in. It's a woman. She's wearing a summer dress, a thin, floral sundress. No coat, no shoes. She is standing perfectly still, facing away from the camera, looking up at the mountain. Sarah grabs her radio. "Dispatch, this is Sarah. I have a 1050 on the patio. Possible mental health crisis. Female, underdressed. I'm going out to check." Sarah grabs her heavy coat and flashlight. She leaves the warm booth and heads down the long hallway to the patio doors. It takes her about 3 minutes to get there. She pushes open the heavy double doors. The cold air hits her like a physical slap. She shines her light onto the patio. Empty. There's nobody there. Sarah walks out. She checks for footprints. There are bare footprints in the snow. They lead to the center of the patio, and then they stop. They don't lead away, just stopped. Confused, Sarah goes back inside to the control room to check the playback. Maybe the woman ran off. She rewinds the footage on Monitor 4. She sees the woman standing there. She sees herself, Sarah, come out onto the patio with the flashlight. But in the video, the woman is still there. Sarah watches the screen in horror. In the video, Sarah walks right past the woman. She shines her light through her. The woman in the dress isn't a ghost. She's solid. But Sarah couldn't see her with her naked eye. But then, the woman on the screen moves. As Sarah is watching the playback, the woman on the screen slowly turns her head. She looks directly into the security camera lens, and she smiles. Her mouth opens way too wide, unnaturally wide, like a snake unhinging its jaw. And then, the power in the control room cuts out. Total darkness. Sarah is sitting there, heart hammering in the pitch black. Then, she hears it. Over the intercom system, the speakers that are connected to the cameras outside, it's the sound of wet, slapping footsteps. Slap, slap, slap. Bare feet on tile. It's not coming from the speakers anymore. It's coming from the hallway outside the control room door. Sarah locks the door. She jams a chair under the handle. The footsteps stop right outside. Sarah is crying now, huddled under the desk. A voice comes through the crack in the door. It sounds like Sarah's own voice, but distorted, like a recording played backward and then forward. "It's cold out here, Sarah. Let me in. I want to wear your coat." Then the scratching started, long, slow scratches on the metal door. Sarah radioed the police, screaming. When the cops arrived 20 minutes later, the hallway was empty. The power was back on. But the control room door, the heavy steel fire door, it was warped. Something had bent the metal inward, trying to peel it open like a tin can. And on the floor, right outside the door, was a puddle of water. And in the puddle, a single frozen flower petal. Sarah quit that night. She moved to Arizona. She says she needs to live somewhere where it never snows, where she never has to worry about footprints that just stop. So, those are the stories. A cabin trap, a dead-end road, and a visitor that cameras can see but eyes cannot. I don't know what it is about winter. Maybe the cold preserves things. Maybe the ice keeps secrets better than the earth does. Or maybe when the world goes quiet, we just finally hear what has been there all along. If you are listening to this in bed, maybe pull the blanket up a little higher. If you have a story, a true story about something that happened to you in the snow, send it to me. The email is in the description. I read everything. Stay warm, stay safe, and lock your doors. Good night.